Welcome to the Mormon to Medium podcast, where we'll talk about spirituality, the paranormal, religion, and my journey going from Mormon to medium. I'm Nannette and Brad. Thanks for listening. Now let's go have some fun.
Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. There's a moon overhead, but the sun will rise. Blood on our lips, such a poisonous bite. The sound of our hearts go bump, bump, bump in the night.
Hello and welcome. This is the Mormon to Medium podcast. I'm Brad and I'm here with Nannette, the former Mormon who's now a medium.
She's just a medium.
And she's also the super hot blonde that's on the artwork for our logo.
Oh, you had to go there.
Of course. You look great. It's an amazing picture.
Thank you.
All zenned out in front of the ocean, just feeling the vibe.
Dude, I was tan.
You were tan, very tan, which doesn't happen very often in January, of course, because there's some other things going on, right?
Yes, we have to apologize. We didn't publish an episode last week because it was Cory's Angelversary. And that's a Nannism. An Angelversary is a death date. And it's like a birthday anniversary, I guess, of Cory's death. And it was number 10. So it was a big one. And my January was kind of shit. So it was hard on me. And I didn't think that it would be. But I think those hurdles of, 10 years is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot different than what we've had in the last few years, right?
Yeah, especially living here in St. George, I've been okay.
You've done really well. And, here's the thing, though. Grief is grief, right? And it's going to hit you differently at different times. And this year being one of those, monument years, obviously 10 years, that was a big deal. And, we had some tough days.
Really tough days. I like to call what happens to my brain widow brain because you literally can't think straight. Like you can't enunciate your words. You think something but can't say them. Or in my case, my brain wasn't attached to my stomach. And so I'd forget to eat the whole entire day. And then another day would go by and I still hadn't eaten. And, it's super hard. And grief is grief. And however it comes at you, you have to just feel it, let it go right through you, and then release it. And that is what I worked really, really hard on doing in January. It was really tough. And I had a lot of emotional hills that I climbed. Sometimes there are heroes, like real heroes. And for the Angelversary, there were some real heroes that stepped up and did some amazing things to put together a really beautiful monument to honor Cory and his sacrifice right on the Cory B. Ride Memorial Highway. And it was really hard to head on up to Utah County. We call it going from southern Utah and St. George to Utah County. We call it the Hill of Depression because we literally, there's no sunshine.
Yeah, we got up there and we're like, oh, you know what I really miss about Utah County? I miss the inversion. This is amazing. The air quality is so garbage. How do I live without this? And you know what else we missed?
The traffic.
We missed the traffic.
So much traffic.
Oh my goodness.
It takes so long to get from one place to another. And when we were growing up, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Like you could go from Provo to Spanish Fork in 15 minutes tops, even in, traffic and stuff.
And now with so many people living there, the traffic has gotten just ridiculous. It's a big metropolitan area. It's a megalopolis. You can't tell where one city ends and the next one starts.
It's kind of like runny, wet mascara. It just kind of runs into each other.
Yeah, it does. And there was definitely some runny, wet mascara.
And it is not to be mixed up with a megapint.
A megapint. I felt it was needed. Best court line ever.
It's so true.
Yeah, you mentioned the monument, though, and I think we really need to talk about that because what an honorable tribute. So when Nan talks about the Cory B. Ride Highway, it was named that after Cory was shot and killed. That was the actual road that Cory was working on when this incident occurred. And where the memorial sits is actually where his patrol car was sitting when he was shot and killed. So it is very sacred ground.
It's really, really beautiful too. And mind you, usually January in Utah, it's overcast and snowy and freezing. And out in Eagle Mountain, you have got wind gusts that are crazy. It is not a pleasant place to be. Like the dash cam the day Cory was killed was just freezing cold and just miserable weather. But the 10th memorial for him was sunny and warm and just the most beautiful, gorgeous day. And everyone was just so nice,
Yeah.
you know?
It was a really good turnout. A lot of great people came in. But actually, considering the weather that day, our friend Kristen had a really cool comment regarding that.
So Kristen had taken a picture. She was towards the back of all of the people that were there, and there was quite a few people. And she's really tall. She's like a gorgeous Amazon Viking woman, like just super tall. I wish
She's
I
awesome.
had her. I wish I had her height. It's awesome. Anyways, she took this picture, and you can see the flagpole. You can see the mountains in the background, and the blue sunny sky, and the sunshine off to the right. And she said, "What an amazing way to honor Cory. You could feel the love from everyone at the event. And I know that Cory is so happy to know that he will never be forgotten. In this picture, it might look like the sun, but I felt like it was Cory shining and radiating for the entire world to see, feel his presence, feel his warmth, and remember an absolutely incredible man."
That was awesome.
It was so cool. We had so many wonderful people that were there and close friends and just a cocoon of love, which I needed because as soon as we hit that highway, I lost my shit.
Yeah, it just pulled every emotion right back to the surface from that day, didn't it?
I felt everything. And I wasn't expecting that. Like I had more anxiety over people I didn't want to see heading up there. I had more anxiety over that. I surely did not see. The second we got on that highway, my hands started to sweat and my heart started to beat so hard. It was beating out of my chest. And then I started to get woozy, and then I started to hyperventilate, and then I was crying so hard I couldn't catch my breath. And I'm like thinking in my head, "You dumbass, what are you doing? You've already healed this. What's going on?" But then on the other side of me is like, no, this is grief, and you're still feeling it in your body very much. And I'm an empath too. You know, I'm a psychic medium. I feel energy, and I could feel the energy of that place, and it was overwhelming for my widow heart and my little widow brain.
Is there a balance for that?
Oh, you know there is. But how many days, even after that, did it take me to actually go balance myself? It wasn't
Yeah.
even, it was a couple days after that I even came up for air. Like I was not coping with stuff very well at all. But I needed to allow myself to do that. And that's what you do with grief. You've got to navigate all of those emotions of grief and allow yourself the grace to feel it, right? I mean, that's the only way to get on the other side of grief and be like, okay, I'm going to do better next year.
Well, and that's literally all you can do. Just, hey, I'm going to do better next year, or you're not. And it doesn't matter one way or another. It is what it is. And emotions aren't wrong. They just are.
Exactly. Well, and especially when it comes to grief, it's okay to feel whatever it is you're going to feel. I'll tell you what, most of the month of January, I didn't sleep. So Xanax was my friend. And I hate to admit that.
Yeah. And she already said how she didn't eat much that whole month. And we all know how Nan gets when she doesn't eat. So
Are you saying I was mean?
you were a little mean. but
I'm
it's
sorry.
You get a golden ticket pass for that. It's understandable.
It was a rough, bumpy ride this year, but that monument, if you ever get a chance to go out there in Eagle Mountain to go and see the monument on the Cory B. Ride Memorial Highway, it is just gorgeous. It's such a true, professional, honorable tribute to Cory. It tells the story of what happened that day with a picture of him there and a couple of benches that you can sit on and go on a beautiful day because, oh my gosh, there's a field back behind and it's so classic Cory. He was a cowboy and he loved the outdoors and he loved Eagle Mountain. So just a lovely, lovely place to be.
Well, and I think we really need to make sure we acknowledge Garrett Dutson. He's a deputy with the Utah County Sheriff's Office, and he orchestrated this monument being built. He went out and talked to people who donated their time, their money, materials to create this amazing monument.
Right. So we would call that a hero.
Yeah.
And also the Utah County honorary colonels, they stepped right up and offered funds to be able to put the flagpole and stuff in, and even some extra money that didn't even need to be used because so many people came forward and just donated their granite, time, gravel, truck drivers, all of them, just so much love poured into this to honor Cory and for it to be a place that Cory's not forgotten. And that means the world to our family because, you know, the last thing you want, you know, is for him to be forgotten. And our family still is healing, all of us in our different ways. You know, our family definitely isn't a whole unit again. So, and I doubt it ever will be.
I don't know that you can say never.
Well, Cory's a part of that unit. You can't have someone murdered like that and then expect everybody to be one again. You just don't, because everybody's healing differently. Everybody's gone their own ways, and it just doesn't. There's this chasm that's there. Navigating it though in a healthy way is really important.
What do you think is the ideal way to navigate that chasm? I mean, I'm sure there are lots of people out there who have experienced something similar or are going through something. How do you navigate that? And do you think that's something that's common in situations like this? Have you talked to other widows who have experienced the same thing?
I have. I've talked to lots of widows that have experienced the same thing, especially with in-laws and the breaking apart. You know, when you're a family for a really long time and then something like that happens, and then all of a sudden you're not a family because the in-laws are going to process grief in a different way, but no matter how the widow processes it, it's not ever the right way. And I hear that all the time. There's a lot of judgment and a lot of fear and a lot of grief measuring contests going on, which is a shame because people should just be okay with wherever anyone is in their grief, you know, and not be like, oh, well, I hurt more, you're not doing that right, or you should wait at least 4 years before you date. Like, seriously, stop with the judgment. Just love. Can you just love and just let people just be, because it fucking sucks to have to go through grief like that.
Yeah.
I mean, from any direction, whether you're a parent or your spouse or a child or a grandchild, you know?
Do you think that maybe some of those emotions are maybe them looking at it and going, oh, she's betraying Cory by moving forward? Or how much did she love Cory? Look at her moving forward. Do you think some of those emotions or thoughts maybe come up?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of judgment with that. But, you know, behind the scenes, people also don't know the stories about me and Cory and the things that we talked about and the things that we did to prepare for his murder. I had the 3 dreams that he would be shot and killed, and it was a subject in our family. And it was a subject just days before he was killed.
When you say it was a subject in your family, did your kids know about that?
My kids knew, yes.
Really?
Yes.
So what was that conversation like? How did that go down?
Well, when your mom's screaming in the middle of the night that their dad was shot and killed, and you wake up the whole house because your whole house is 700 square feet. Yeah, you wake up the whole house and everybody wants to know what's wrong. You tell them. And my kids knew that I had the dreams. Probably the littlest ones probably didn't realize because they were really little. But everybody, you know, can put their judgment out there, but they don't realize that, you know, Cory had his own intuition too. And Cory and I talked just that week about what would happen. And as a matter of fact, I remember when Derek Johnson was shot and killed in Draper, Utah. Johnson was killed on September 1st, just 4 months before Cory. And I remember we were in our room and the TV was on and Cory was watching the police funeral of Derek Johnson. And he said to me, when I die in the line of duty, you'll have the choice to have a funeral like this or not, but it's your choice. And
wait a minute, he said when?
When.
So it wasn't if, it was a when.
It was a when.
So he had that feeling even
4 months before.
Wow.
But I had the 3 dreams, and I think that he started to believe the dreams because I had dreams of all of our children before they were born.
You're kind of the baby whisperer, though.
Yeah, and I've had dreams of all of my grandchildren before they were born too. I know them all the way down to the cleft in their chin. Like I knew exactly what they would be and when they would be born. And
Speaking of which, we just had an adorable little granddaughter
baby
born.
girl,
She is such a little precious peach.
she's a joy.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
She's perfect in every single freaking way.
So much beautiful dark hair and
Yes.
just, yeah. And
Yes.
Nan had the dream.
Had the dream.
Sorry, I digressed. I got way off track, but you can't talk about grandbabies and not bring
Well,
up the newest.
It's true. It's true. Anyways, we had the conversations, and Cory told me just on Monday, he was killed on Thursday. He was pacing in our bedroom, and he was actually sobbing.
So now this is fast forward. So you had Derek Johnson's
in
funeral
September.
in September, and he said, "When I die,
Uh-huh.
you'll have the option of doing this."
That's right.
And then we fast forward into January,
Yes.
and he's pacing around.
Yeah, it's just on Monday, and he dies on Thursday. On Monday, we weren't working at the time. We both were off. And he was pacing in our bedroom back and forth, and he was sobbing, just big tears rolling down his face. And he kept pulling his hair, and he had this baby fine hair. So if he pulled it, it stuck out like a chicken. And so he was doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong? Because I walk in on this and I'm like, is it the kids? Is it money? Like, what's going on? And he sat on the edge of the bed and he put his hands over his face and he said, I just need to spend time with you. And I was like, score. You don't have to go to work until Thursday. So score, let's date.
That's awesome.
So to me, but I'm like hugging him and I'm trying to console him, not knowing why he's sobbing like he is. And while I'm hugging him, he gets up and then I stand up and I'm looking at him and he looks at me and he says, Nan, when I die, I need you to promise me that you'll fall in love and you'll move ahead because you don't do well alone.
I shouldn't laugh, but he's right.
Fuck you. I told him that and I tell you that.
He's right.
And I looked at him because I got mad at him. I did. I got mad at him and told him, I was like, fuck you. No. No. And he grabbed my shoulders and shook me. And he says, Nan, promise me. And I was like, okay, fine. I promise you. Can we just stop talking about this now? And he was like, okay. And he stopped crying and we dated each other for the next couple of days. And on Thursday, I remember him calling me at noon and he was heading to go get our son. And he told me that he had put dinner in the crock pot for us and that he would meet me at home. And I was like, awesome.
You made him peanut butter bars.
I did make him peanut butter bars. It was his favorite. He had a big plate of them. So what had happened is we had some financial issues that happened in our bank account and it went overdrawn. We had a whole bunch of shit happen. So he didn't have money to go to lunch with all the guys. So he was just like, I'm just going to take a whole bunch of peanut butter bars and then pick up a swig. I think it's called the Wild at the swig with the Mountain Dew and mango puree in it. He loved that. We got that on one of our dates just a couple days before he was killed and he loved it. So it's kind of a thing now. But yeah, when he was killed, the plate of peanut butter bars was still in the front seat and he had eaten just a couple of them. But yeah.
I know I love it when you make peanut butter bars because they're amazing.
Well, I thank you.
Yes. And they have special meaning here.
They do. They do. We always do cheers to Cory because they were his favorite thing in the whole world. That
Well, next to you.
Nacho cheese and Doritos and next to me. But I've had some weird stuff happen with music during that time too.
You have, and even since then, since we went to the memorial.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'll post them on our social media so you guys can go see because they're just really weird. You know how you like scroll through social media, like you're scrolling through Instagram and each square opens up and you can, hear what's going on in each one. No, I had country music that started playing and it's a song I've never heard before.
You're talking about when you're viewing the reels, right?
Yeah.
And you're like just swiping through reels to watch them. Okay.
Yeah. So I heard the music playing, but it wasn't matching any of the reels that were playing. And so I hurried and put my phone on record because I've gotten really good at that, doing Instagram hacks. And so I started to record it and then I'm flipping on it so you can see that the song doesn't match anything that is there. And I've had it happen on Instagram and on Facebook. So it's not just a a glitch in a program or whatever, but I've had it happen a couple of times. And Cory always talks in songs.
And what was the song?
The song was Heaven's Lucky to Have You by Jonathan Lee. I'd never ever heard it before. And so I pulled up the lyrics and stuff, and it's so crazy. Because like in the very first, it talks about a sunflower on the roadside out where we lived. There was tons of them, and sunflowers are my favorite flower. And it talks about a lighthouse beacon. Lighthouses were my dad's thing. So it's like the things in the song, words in the song meant things to me. But yeah.
I feel your arms around me when the wind blows. I still think you left too soon, but I'm thankful for your time. Heaven's lucky to have you, and so was I.
You were like, the other day, you're like, he keeps sending you sappy songs. What's going on?
Well, do you know what? This song makes me cry. The sappy one was because of the Rod Stewart. Yeah, I read the lyrics in this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, yeah, this one pulls on all the heartstrings. Rod Stewart, though, that's a little...
But I had never heard either of the songs that were being played for me either. It's like, what the heck? I was surprised that second one was Rod Stewart, but...
Well, and the second time, it didn't happen on Instagram. It happened on Facebook.
Yeah. Yep.
Super weird. And do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of...
what happened upstairs.
Yes, what happened on that TV.
On Netflix.
On Netflix when you had all the voices and everything was going crazy up there.
Yes.
Very similar to that.
Yes, absolutely. The Balance Tyson in that one.
Precious Memories by Rod Stewart. That was the other one.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cory's really good at manipulating electronics. It's like his thing. So he's super proud of it too, according to my psychic medium friends.
Well, didn't you also talk to one of Cory's family members who said that they had received messages from Cory through music?
Through electronics. So his youngest sister, that was his favorite, obviously. She came to me and she says when she is thinking about Cory, the lights will flicker or songs will turn on and different things will happen. And she says it's so strange. She goes, and they went to Hawaii and they had an experience where they ran into some people that actually are from Monticello and knew Cory's mom and dad. And actually knew Cory when he was a little baby. Monticello is
a tiny little town in...
It's PennDOT in Utah. Yeah, it's a PennDOT, but that's where Cory was born, is Monticello, Utah. So, all these tender mercies, if you want to call them, I know that's very Mormon to say, but it is. It's like heaven's little tender mercies to let you know, I'm right here. I didn't leave. And he's even there for his siblings and his parents and our kids and everybody. You just have to watch for the signs. And I definitely watch for the signs, especially in that shitty month of January.
Yeah, it's...
But my signs were in my face, though.
You couldn't really look away from your sign. No. It's hard to ignore when it's right in your face going, hello, here I am. Look at me. Pay attention. I'm here. Stop. It's okay. I've got you still.
Yes. Well, and remember just a couple of weeks before... we were in your office, Brad, and Alexa just turned on in the middle of the song Rocket Man, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And we both looked at each other. You could hear our heads whip. So we look at each other like, holy shit. Happens all the time, though.
That's Stewart. Jesus. Come on, Cory. You can do better than that.
You just challenged him?
Oh, yeah.
It's game on.
It's time for
game on.
Some less sappy songs.
Cory, you hear that? You need to mess with Brad.
Wow. No, that's not exactly what I said. I just said less sappy songs.
Yeah, he's going to send you some Metallica or something since you both love Metallica.
That would be okay. Look, I love Rod Stewart. Blondes have more fun, whatever. But...
Precious Memories?
Yeah.
It fit. I'd never heard the song before. But...
Fair enough. And it did fit. It did fit. That's what she said.
Oh, snap. And he's 14 again.
You don't have to point it out. Everyone realizes it. You know that, right?
That you're 14?
Yeah, you've put that out there now.
I know it. It just blows my mind because you are this sexy, hot, amazing, beautiful man. And then you turn 14 and I'm just like sitting there looking at this hot guy and he's 14. And
Yeah,
just don't
but-
even look at me with that dimple. Just don't.
But it's okay because it makes you laugh every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's because it shocks me. Just like seeing a ghost with my human eyes. You just chew. Speaking of
like our mailman.
our mailman.
We got the coolest mailman.
We have the best mailman. So he heard that we had gone to Hawaii a couple months ago. And he said that his brother's friends had just gotten back from Hawaii. And he goes, I got to show you the picture that they took. So they were taking a selfie. They took the selfie and back behind them was a dark one. And it is legit shit. One of those dark ones that I used to see all the time right after Cory was killed.
Yeah, it's a crazy picture. It like literally is a shadow creature. Like you see this person in shadow form, and it is not just a shadow, it's a shadow person. There is zero doubt or question, and there's no one else around. It's the jungle.
Yep. And it's in the sunshine with no shadow on the ground. Like it's, yeah, you can see it's kind of translucent a little bit. Wow. And he was freaked out. Our mailman was freaked out.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like that stuff. It scares me. But he carries a picture of it on his phone.
He's like, I had to show Brad and Nan. We were trying to get him to listen to the podcast, but he says, oh, hell no.
He's like, that scares me. That
I
stuff
can't do
scares
it.
me. One day, we'll get him.
We'll get him. We'll torture him and make him listen. Go golfing with him.
Right?
Definitely. So we ended up, after that, going to Kanab. I went to go get my hair cut.
And that's a whole drama story in and of itself. Okay.
But you have to touch on it a little bit.
You have to touch on that a little bit. So,
Not getting my hair cut. Oh, but wait.
but
Yes.
wait, there's more.
There's more.
Yeah. Oh, it just realized. She just remembered how upset she was.
No. This isn't about, okay, my hair got fucked up, okay? And I got it fixed, but it's not about that.
Speaking of which, if somebody needs an amazing hairdresser,
Yeah, Kanab Summerstadt, call her. If you don't have her number, you're not friends with her on Facebook or Messenger or whatever, just text me. I'll give you her number. She's outstanding. Probably the best hairstylist I've ever been to, or beautician. I don't know what you call them, but she's a pro. She's legit.
yeah. Well, she communicated so well. So I had to go for emotional support because Nan was so upset.
It's an hour and a half drive. I am not doing it by myself.
Well, and you were pretty upset about your last haircut. So I was like, all right, I better go with her, make sure everything's good. And Summer was great.
She was amazing.
Yeah, she communicated through the
Amazing.
whole process and made sure you got exactly what you wanted.
And her first thing was like, I don't want to fry your hair. I just want to fix it. And I was like, yeah. And then when she's cutting it, she goes, how much do you want cut off? I said, all the dead shit. Just get rid of it. So now my hair is like 4 inches shorter, but it's fine. It's healthy now. So
It's not 4 inches shorter, but it's curly today. So it feels like it's 4 inches shorter.
it is.
No, it's like an inch shorter.
It is not.
But when it goes curly, it springs
it
up.
shrinks. Anyways, the point is she lives in Kanab. And if you've never been to Kanab, you're talking red rock cliffs all over the place. And this is like Indian territory, big time. And she was telling me as she was doing my hair that they were going to be putting 500 homes back behind her home, that they're going to be building them.
500? Mm-hmm. Oh my hell.
I don't even know how they're going to fit them.
They're going to be butts
honestly.
they're going to be butts to nuts.
I know. We hang out a lot.
Yeah.
But she was telling me that they started to dig and they dug up 39 bodies.
Damn.
That's a freaking ancient burial site. You don't mess with that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what happens when you mess with shit like that?
Have they not seen Poltergeist?
Right?
That's how
You don't do
Poltergeist
that.
started.
Yeah. So that was 4 months ago, I think she said. And
Damn it. People are going to be like floating in a muddy pool with a lot of bodies. That's
right?
just gross. We know how that ends.
You're going to have some haunted houses.
I just got a chill.
You got
I'm
the
like,
chills?
ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like you're looking back behind you. I'm like, what did you do? Anyways, can you imagine 39 bodies
And it was that dirt mound right behind her house.
right behind her house?
Like,
Yes.
I could have thrown a rock and hit it.
You would have hit it. Yes, 100%. And you know, Native Americans, they bury their dead with things like pots and beautiful things. And so you can't even imagine what's in there. And they have no business digging that up. No business at all. They need to like put the bodies back, cover it back up, and go buy more land someplace else. Go away. Greedy suckers.
Do you know, here's the thing, though. There are so many places like that
In Utah.
in Utah, all over. I mean, think about in Mexico, like half the continent is ancient cities
Ruins.
and ruins and burial grounds. And it's really amazing when you look at how much of other cultures from the past are just buried beneath the dirt.
Yeah. They're just right there. And then you wonder why places are haunted, right?
Yeah. Well, and speaking of burying things beneath the dirt, on our way back, we stopped at Pipe Springs National Monument, and we learned some crazy stuff.
So Pipe Springs is between Kanab and St. George, but it's on the Arizona Strip. By the way, Brad got pulled over.
Yes, I did. Trying to make sure that Nan got to her appointment on time. And I may have been going a little bit fast.
29 over. Yeah.
A little bit fast.
You know what's impressive, though? You didn't pull the widow card. You didn't pull the I'm a retired cop card. You didn't pull any of them. You were just freaking nice. And the kid was so nice.
Yeah, he was. He's very professional. It was funny, though, because he walks up, I'm Deputy so-and-so with such and such department, and I stopped you because you're going a little fast today. He's like, can I get you to turn off the car, please? And I'm like, dude, it's really cold out here. And where am I going to run to?
It is the middle of
Literally,
nowhere.
it's one road, and there's dirt roads off of it. But I'm in like a little crossover Mazda. Where am I going to run to? You can't outrun a radio. Anyway, it was just funny. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, that's true. He goes, you can roll up your windows, though, because I always roll down the windows. They're tinted, and I don't want someone to get freaked out when they walk up. So I roll all the windows down so they can see in the car. But he was very kind and decided to give us a warning that day, which was very lucky.
Yep. And we should have given him a coin, but I didn't remember that we had him in the glove box.
Yeah, we need to get some new coins made up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did get pulled over as we were going out there, but on our way back, I did not, because I drove the speed limit the rest of the way. All I need is that verbal warning, once every other quarter. So springtime and fall time, I'll get that warning, and then I drive great.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Our last one was here in St. George. Brad got pulled over and he happens to stop right across the street from a little kid's lemonade stand. He offers to buy the cop a lemonade.
Well, it wasn't exactly like that. He asked where I was going in such a hurry, and I said I had to get to the lemonade stand before they sold out because they're super popular this time of year. I asked him if he had bought one from them and tried it. He said he had not, which I was really disappointed because he was working in that area. He totally should have stopped and bought one from them. And he knew that. He totally knew that. He had his little military mustache and he twerked it up a little bit when I said that. He knew he should have bought one from him. So he gave me a warning too, because he felt guilty for not buying a lemonade from those kids at the lemonade stand.
It's so funny when he gets pulled over.
Damn it. So
My eyes cry.
So we were driving the speed limit on the way back, and we said, hey, we've driven past Pipe Springs National Monument. We should stop in and see what it is.
Yes. And it did not disappoint.
It didn't, but we did learn something that just blew us away that we had no idea happened. And we're going to talk a lot about that next week and probably the week after. It's a big topic.
I think we should say what it is.
I agree. So many of you know all about slavery and how it was abolished and slaves were illegal. But how many of you knew that there was a whole other aspect to slavery, that the Native Americans in the Western United States were traded as slaves for centuries by different tribes. And when the Mormon pioneers moved to Utah, they thrived in human trafficking those Native Americans.
And they would also have groups of people that would go and gather up these children and bring them in. And there's lots of stories that we're going to share, but it is just it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. They would make them change their language. They would chop their hair off. They would make them start to act like a white person, and almost like they wanted to wipe them off the face of the earth. But interestingly enough, it's directly related to my spirit guide story.
Yeah, it is, which is cool. And we can bring that into it as well. So make sure to tune in next week, because we are going to be talking about the Mormon pioneer slave trade, as well as Nan's Native American spirit guide.
Ooh, you're going to love this story.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Please do us a huge favor. Leave a review on the podcast and tell everyone how much you love us so that we can continue making great content. The more reviews we get, the more people will listen to the episodes that we put out there. But thank you so much for taking time to hear our voices.
We love you guys, and we will see you
On the other side of the veil.